There was something off about the new house on Elm Street. I had only moved in a week ago, but every night felt heavier, as if the house itself was pushing me down in my bed, suffocating me slowly as I slept. The air was thick with an unsettling quiet, interrupted only by the occasional creaks of old wooden floorboards. One night, I woke up to a sound, a faint tapping, rhythmic but not consistent. It seemed to be coming from the attic. At first, I thought it might be the wind blowing a tree branch, brushing against the roof, but the sound was too precise, too intentional. Tap, tap, pause. Tap, tap, pause. It was as if someone or something was counting. I stayed frozen under my blanket, straining to hear more. The tapping continued for what felt like hours before it abruptly stopped. The silence that followed was almost worse. I tried to convince myself it was just the old house settling. Houses make noises, don't they? The next day, I mentioned it to my neighbor, Mrs. Cartwright. She was an older woman who had lived on Elm Street for decades. The expression on her face darkened when I told her about the sound, and that it was coming from the attic. "You shouldn't go poking around in that attic," she said firmly. "Some doors are better left closed." That only made me more curious. That night, when the tapping returned, I decided I had to see for myself. Armed with a flashlight, I climbed the creaky stairs leading to the attic. The air grew colder the closer I got, and the tapping grew louder. When I pushed open the attic door, the smell hit me first. Something sour and old, like rotting wood. My flashlight beam swept across dusty furniture and forgotten boxes until it landed on a figure in the corner. At first I thought it was a mannequin, the way it stood so still. But then it moved, turning its head slowly towards me. Its eyes were sunken, and its skin was stretched too tightly over its face, like a mask that didn't quite fit. In its hand was a glove that had metal knives attached to each of the fingers. This is what was tapping against the wall. "What are you doing here?" I stammered, my voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. It didn't answer. It just stared at me, unblinking. Then it smiled, revealing teeth that were too sharp for a human mouth. Upon closer inspection, his face looked burned. He had a dirty brown hat and a red and green sweater. I backed away slowly, my flashlight shaking in my hand. The figure began to step forward, the tapping replaced by a screeching sound, like metal contacting metal, in a sick way. I stumbled out of the attic, slamming the door behind me. I ran out of the house, got in the car, and ran. I found a diner that was still open, and I got a seat. The green neon lights were visible from my seat, illuminating the parking lot. There were a few other tables with people eating as well. I suddenly felt a lot safer. "What'll it be, hun?" the waitress said. "I'll take a coffee, please." I still felt a sense of creepy, but everything seemed fine so far. Even though I was drinking coffee, though, I was feeling tired. I suddenly woke up in the diner, but it was abandoned. The bright green light was now dark red outside. All the lights were off in the restaurant, and it looked like it had been abandoned for years. What happened? I looked around the condemned restaurant, and I saw him. The figure I had seen in the attic was now blocking the front door, tapping his finger knives on a table. Out of nowhere, he ran full speed at me. I was scared, and I slipped. I fell backwards and hit the back of my head on the table. I woke up in my car, parked on the side of the road. I guess I had never actually been to the diner at all. It was all just a dream, I think. I was having trouble figuring out what was real and what was a dream. Did I really see someone when I went up to the attic? I didn't want to take a chance. I called the moving company and packed my things. I didn't care how much it would cost. I needed to leave. I packed everything up really quick. As I was loading the last of my boxes onto the truck, though, I glanced back at the house. The attic window was open, and the burned man stood there, watching me. He raised a glove with 4 blades attached, waving slowly, that eerie smile on his face. I didn't stay to see what he would do next. As the moving truck pulled away, I felt a heavy weight lift from my chest, but deep down, I knew I would never forget that smile, or the sound of tapping and scraping. There was something strange about my new house on Elm Street. I'd moved in a week ago, drawn in by the low rent and beautiful exterior. But I was starting to feel like something was wrong with the place. Something I couldn't explain. It all started with the dreams. Every night, I'd find myself in the same place. A long, dimly lit hallway lined with doors. Each door was slightly open, and behind them, faint sounds of a kid's song echoed. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. At the end of the hallway stood a figure, tall and still, blended in with the shadow at the very end of the hallway. The only thing I could see were the whites of his eyes in the darkness looking right at me. He would suddenly start chasing me. I tried to run away from him. The hallway continued to stretch no matter how far I ran. I would wake up gasping just before the man swung at me with his claw hand. I brushed the nightmares off as moving stress. New places had their quirks, right? But when I mentioned the dreams to my neighbor, her face turned pale. "You're staying in that house?" she asked, her voice dropping to a whisper. "What's wrong with it?" I asked, forcing a laugh. She hesitated, then said, "It's nothing. Just old rumors." She wouldn't meet my eyes after that, like she knew something that I should know, and she wasn't telling me. That night, I tried to stay awake. Coffee, TV, and pacing the creaky hardwood floor. Anything to avoid the hallway. But sleep always found me. The hallway was darker this time. The whispers were louder, more insistent. The figure was faster this time. I really felt like he was trying to kill me, and I felt like I could have actually died. I woke up covered in sweat. The clock read 3:15, but I wasn't alone. There was a sound, a faint scratching sound. It was coming from inside the house. I grabbed my phone and crept into the hallway. The metal scraping sound grew louder, which led me to the basement door. I'd barely touched the handle when the scratching stopped suddenly. Silence swallowed the house. My heart was beating so hard as I slowly opened the door. The basement stairs disappeared into darkness, but at the bottom, I saw it, a faint glow, like a flickering candlelight. I walked down the stairs very cautiously. My breathing was shallow, every instinct screaming at me to turn back. At the bottom of the stairs, I froze. The glow wasn't from the candles. It was from carvings of human faces in the walls, hundreds of them. Names etched below their faces, the faces glowing faintly as if it were alive. And that's when I saw him. The man from my dreams stood in the corner, ugly, dirty, scratching a metal pipe with his steel claws, his shadow stretching unnaturally across the room, his head tilted when he looked at me.
"Why are you here?"
it asked. I couldn't answer. My legs were locked into place. My body was trembling like I was out in the cold.
"You don't belong here,"
it said.
"Don't come back or you will pay."
I turned and bolted up the stairs, slamming the door behind me. I didn't stop until I was outside. my feet pounding the pavement as I ran down Elm Street, away from that house. The next day, I woke up in my last apartment like I had never moved. Had I dreamt the entire thing? I remembered the address. I had to see for myself, and drove to the house. When I got to the house, the lot was empty, overgrown with weeds, as if no one had lived there for years. I still dream about the hallway sometimes. The man is always there, waiting, and I hear the whispers of my name from the open doors. I found out that man was Fred Krueger, a child killer in Springwood. He had killed all the family of people related to his horrible death, but after his death, it was worse. From eyewitness accounts, he stalked people in their dreams. However, he did not have the power to take my soul because I was not from Springwood and had nothing to do with anything there. Neither did my family. Lucky me, I guess. It was one of those nights when the air felt alive, the kind of oppressive humidity that clung to your skin and made the hairs on the back of your neck stand at attention. I had just clocked out from the graveyard shift at the Springwood gas station, a job I hated but couldn't afford to quit. The fluorescent lights buzzed above me as I walked to my car, their hum almost drowning out the distant rumble of thunder. Almost. A storm was coming, and I wanted to be home before it hit, but as I turned to head to my car, I saw him. A man, standing under the flickering street lamp across the parking lot. He wasn't moving, just standing there, too still. He was wearing a fedora, the brim shadowing his face, and a tattered red and green sweater that clung to him like a second skin. Something about him felt wrong, but I wasn't interested in sticking around to find out what that was. I hurried to my car, throwing nervous glances over my shoulder. He was still there, but now it felt like he was watching me. The storm clouds rolled in faster than I expected, the first drops of rain splattering my windshield as I turned the key. I wouldn't feel safe until I was at least halfway down the street. I started driving, and that's when the radio cut out. I tried to mess with the settings, but all I got was static. Then, through the crackling, came a sound that chilled me to the bone. Laughter, low and deep. All it said was,
"Gonna get you."
I looked in the rearview mirror and was out of sight of the gas station. I told myself it was just my imagination. I was tired and jumpy from the creepy guy outside the gas station. That was all. I took a deep breath, shaking it off, and kept driving. But then the streetlights started going out, one by one, as if something was following me, knocking the lights out as it passed. I tried to convince myself it was just a coincidence. A power outage, maybe. Usually, though, a power outage would make everything go out at once. This was different. Then, the storm came. The rain picked up, sheets of water slamming against my windshield. I could barely see a foot in front of me, but I didn't dare stop. Something primal inside me screamed to keep going. And that's when I saw it, or rather, him, again. He was standing in the middle of the road, hat tilted, head cocked, as if he was daring me to keep coming towards him. I slammed on the brakes, my car skidding on the wet asphalt. When I came to a stop, he was gone. Just gone. I gripped my wheel, trying to catch my breath. Then, tap, tap, tap on the driver's side window nearly made me jump out of my skin. I turned, half expecting to see the man from the gas station. Instead, the window was fogged, and there was nothing there but the rain streaking down the glass. Then the tapping came again, this time on the passenger side. I didn't want to look, Every instinct screamed at me just to drive, but I couldn't help it. My head turned, slow and reluctant, and there he was, sitting in the passenger seat, his face still hidden beneath the brim of his hat. But his smile, oh God, that smile, too wide, too sharp, and filled with a joyful hate.
Nice night for a drive.
He said, his voice a gravelly mockery of normalcy. I didn't wait for him to say more. I instinctively hit the gas, taking my eyes off of him, swerving wildly as if I was going to throw him out of the passenger door. I was having a hard time keeping control of the car because of the slick roads. When I glanced back, though, the passenger seat was empty again. But I didn't dare stop. I just kept driving, faster and faster, until I finally saw the flicker of my apartment building's neon sign in the distance. I practically threw myself out of the car, not even bothering to lock the doors. I just wanted to be inside, safe and away from whatever was out there. But as I reached my door, I froze. There, carved deep in the wood, there were 3 words that hadn't been there before. Sweet dreams, Freddy. I didn't sleep that night. I don't sleep much at all anymore, because every time I close my eyes, he's waiting, and no matter how far I run, I know he'll find me. They say nightmares can't hurt you, but I'm not sure anymore. Hey, Spooky Sooner here. Trying something different. Tales from Elm Street. I used to write stories about Freddy Krueger when I was younger, and I just thought, let me try that out. And I was actually able to put these together pretty quick. It was very interesting to me. So if you like it, let me know, and I can come up with some more stories. Let me know in the comments what kind of stories you would like to hear coming up. Babysitter stories, urban legends, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. So I have some of those things planned. They're not fully written yet, but I will be looking into it. And if you guys like Reddit stories, like true Reddit stories, and you want me to do something like that, I can do the written stories and I can do the Reddit stories as well. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you for all the subscribers. It does mean a lot to me that I have people that are listening to me. I did put this down for a little bit, and that kind of encouraged me to keep going. So thanks, everybody. Until next time, stay spooky. Her expression. Her expression. I will take a coffee, please. What was that? It was just a dream. I was having trouble figuring out what was real and what was a dream. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take out it was all just a dream. Did I really see someone in the Did I really see someone in the attic? And the burn. But the hallway. But the hallway stretched. What's wrong with it? I asked, forcing a laugh. Did I force a laugh? I don't think I did. She hesitated, as if it was alive. Testing.
Do I sound like Freddy Krueger? How do I sound like Freddy Krueger? Blah, blah, blah.
The fluorescent lights bubbed above me. Fluorescent. A man standing. Then through the crackling came a sound that that took a big shit on my soul. Okay. Then through then through the crackling came a sound that made me shit in my pants. Just a huge poopy, and I had to wipe my butt, and that is the end of my story.
Nice night for a drive. Nice night. Nice night for a drive. 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 Gonna get you.